Let's begin discussions on the Talk, and let's look at what the stories are on the front pages. And I have here to start the discussions with me Richard Nyama is a member of the MPP communication team and also a member of Young Patriots. Thanks for joining me. He's also contesting the National Youth Organizer position of the MPP. And first, I would want to ask him, so far, how have you gone on with your activities and trying to make sure you talk to the right people who will matter as you get to contest for that very position, the National Youth Organizer position of the MPP?
Thank you very much, Roland. Good morning to your viewers. Yes, my tour, I just came back from the Volta region Sunday night. Very warm reception. The message is clear, and people are warming up and accepting that things have to be done differently if we want to win the elections. We'll have to bring some mathematical and scientific approach to it. We just don't do things for the sake of it. And the message is going down well. And I've had the opportunity of talking on other platforms to the effect that we have only 2 people in the case of the National Youth Organizer per constituency voting. And the other officers, we're looking at 16 people per constituency. But in our case, it's just 2. And so it has to be targeted. If you are out there all over the place and you're not strategic enough, you may not reach the needed audience. And that has been the approach. Go sit with them one-on-one, let them have a feel of me, have a feel of the message. Have about 30 to 1 hour to interact with me and ask me all sorts of questions. You group them, loads of them at a particular place, and the likelihood is that somebody is shying away from asking you questions. And they appreciate that. The fact that I walk and or drive to wherever they are located in their villages, in their homes, and the party office, or sitting under a tree and discussing it. You have 275 constituencies under you. When you are the National Youth Organizer, you've got to know each and every single one of them. And the message is going down well.
What messages are you giving them?
First and foremost, we would have to stop complaining that the NDC is stealing the elections. And so if we can't steal...
Because that's passed? Or?
Yes, it's passed. And, no, but we have this knack of doing that. And for me, if we can't do same, we should prevent them from doing it. And I'm advocating we having our own register one way or the other before the election, so that we can verify what Afarajan is giving us in any case.
But the register is always given to a political party, so
yes.
Well lies the argument.
No,
that I think that the complaint from you from the last, and especially the petition, was that it wasn't given to you in advance.
Yes, and that for me is problematic. If you're a serious political party, you want to win power, you should have some kind of head count where you have probably physically counted the people who are going to vote. It's not a big deal because we have executives in every polling station, 20 of them. They can go around and at least register whoever is 18 and above under them, and then we would have that to at least challenge whatever the Electoral Commission comes up with. For instance, if I have in a polling station 400 people, the Electoral Commission's register comes and it's 600. Even before I start the election, I have the suspicion that there are some 200 ghost names I should be looking out for. That will be a way forward. But if we sit down, he gives us his register, there's no way to challenge it, the veracity of it. We'll go with it, and then we complain that it's bloated.
Those 2 delegates in each constituency, they have been identified. You know them?
Yes, yes. So he's the youth organizer and the deputy.
Okay, so that's constitutional. So how do you make sure that as you do your targeting, you're able to get to the core of their mindset and meet the objectives they have, perhaps?
Yes, I've advocated where, being the National Youth Organizer, I would, for instance, have resources that are supposed to go to the youth wing to operate pass through me, instead of everything being boxed up and given to the chairman. And then we have accountability issues. So if you are the youth organizer, if we have motorbikes coming to the constituencies, you should take charge of that. You become accountable for it. It makes it easier. For instance, if I have 275 motorbikes to give, there are 26 constituencies in the Volta region, for instance. I give them 26 to the regional youth organizer. Each constituency youth organizer is supposed to sign when they pick their motorbike. So I get a document that shows it's been signed. Then I call you directly. Have you received your bike? Yes, it's finished. We don't have accountability issues for where we'll talk of after elections somebody has tucked motorbikes away. I think we should break down the job, give it a chain, a management chain, that everyone gets responsible for their small portion. We manage it like that. It's more effective and more efficient.
It is estimated by 2016, according to the current statistics we have, and per the register used for the last election, we're going to have in excess of over 55% of young people from the age of 50 downwards voting in the elections.
Yes.
That's critical.
My estimation is actually 57%.
Okay.
The research I have done. And I've indicated to that effect that we will have to target and ensure that all the young first-time voters, we are capturing them. And I have a program exactly targeted at them each year. And I've put figures to them, 450,000 estimatedly, where those who are coming from schools, final year students in JSS and SSS, who are about writing their examination, we have a way of interacting with them outside the school system. Gather them, probably prepare them for their examinations, using the marking scheme, the chief examiner's report,
so all those things
past questions.
All those things are as incentives?
No, look, we have to. There are incentives coming along.
No. I mean, those are the incentives because you are helping them with the academics as well.
Oh, yeah, the incentive for the children to vote for us. Yes, and because they are first-time voters, they are.
You need to conscientize.
Yes, in the Greek word, the Greek circles will say they are tabula rases. You need to fill their minds with that consciousness that MPP is the best way forward. And once I have taken them through these classes or this preparation for their examination, I also have the opportunity to let some party folks come talk to them. And I'm looking at across the country at the same time 275 constituencies, because all of them are going to write the exam at the same time. But we want to prepare them to be at the level of the Achimotes and the pre-sex. And the difference I have found is because those in the pre-sex and Achimotes have their teachers being the chief examiners. They take them through this. But these guys, unfortunately, are not, do not have the opportunity to go through this. And the thinking came. I benefited from this when now Trade Minister Haruna Idrisu, Mustafa Hamid and co through the Northern Students Union used to take us through similar stuff in Tamale. And we did marvelously well. Up to date, I do remember them than my teachers, because they were the last point of contact before I wrote the examination. When the kids go and write and they succeed, they largely would attribute it to you. And you also have outside the school environment, because per the GS rules, we're not allowed to go in there and do politics. But if they are on holidays and we gather them and take them through this, it is our class, it is our school. So nobody has any issues with that. And that is capturing them. And you see, you can bring in other people like nurses, doctors, to teach them basic things. We are now complaining about the culture where everyone wants to make money quick. The normal school period does not allow for that, because it is so boxed that you have a lot of lessons you have to finish within a short period. And so it will allow us to also get mentors to take them through what they should do and not do, what they should expect of life, and how they should take it slow. And
so these you're telling the delegates.
Yes.
How do you make sure they buy into it? Because you're not contesting alone. I know Samuel Oku is also contesting. Then we have Michael Jagbele Ampong.
Yes, yes. You see, the point is, I have a background of organizing. And they know that background. With the Young Patriots, what I have done with the Young Patriots from the word go, I've organized the youth, I've organized training programs for them. And they know at any point in time, apart from being a very good organizer, I'm also strategic. These things I've had to sit down and think through them, put figures to them, do some research. I've had to go through the population census documents to know that estimatedly we're looking at that some 57% of people. Then there's even an informal sector. I've put exact figures where I'm targeting by between 1.8 to 2 million youth that would have physically contacted. This you don't get the opportunity to do during rallies in 2016 or 2012. But one-on-one contact where you're telling them what you can do makes people appreciate. And we are moving away from the incentive where I come give you something, ask you to come and vote for me. I'm telling you how we can be in government. So your incentive is to ensure that I succeed in putting that program together, and then that we come in government. So because what is the incentive in being in a political party? If you are in opposition, it's no use. So I'm making them understand that, look, I might be able to give you a penny today, but it won't last you long. If you have
empowerment is
more lasting, and so let's do that. Get the power. And at least you see the background. When MPP was in power, how this country ran. You all had the opportunity to sit down and banks would want to come and give you loans. You could do your own business, not today. So let's get back to the drawing board. Let the focus and the motivation be winning power. After that, we can talk about the rest.
Okay. So where else will you be visiting next?
I'm in the Western region this weekend, and then I'll wrap up in the Eastern region. Strategically.
Are you able to visit all constituencies?
I have.
Okay.
It's just the Eastern region that is left.
Okay. That's huge. All right. Front page of Ghanaian Times has a story: mayhem in Tamale as irate youth burn cars set FM station ablaze, and talks about talks about 3 saloon cars and 1 motorbike being burnt on Tuesday and set ablaze by some irate youth who besieged Radio Justice, a local FM in the Tamale metropolis. The youth believed to be sympathizers of Abdul Rashid Mustafa, who was killed in the Monday shooting incident at Abuabo in Tamale, besieged the radio station, demanding that one of the panelists on the morning show be produced for making an unguarded comment about the deceased. And the workers of the radio station declined the request, and that angered the group, resulting in the burning down of the station and 3 saloon cars and other items there. Well, we've been told that a reporter of the station, Martina Bugri, told the paper in an interview that when they saw the youth gathering at the station, they quickly called the security personnel. But by the time the police arrived, they had set the saloon cars ablaze. It means it just happened swiftly. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss this. We still have in the studio contesting for the National Youth Organizer position of the MPP, Richard Nyama, who is also a member of the Young Patriots, actually one of the conveners of that very organization or pressure group, and also a member of the MPP's communication team. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. And the story also is on the front page of the Daily Guide. MPs, no, this one is not about the MP. NDC Youth Burn Radio Station, that's how the paper decides to put it. But you see the burnt cast there, and some other papers also seem to have some representation of the story on the front page. We've also been joined by George Spencer Quay of the NDC communication team. Thanks for joining us. And Richard, I have to start with this very incident. Is it that the signals were not picked up by the security agencies or what?
Roland,
because we're being told that a certain young man was shot, subsequently passed away over the weekend. As a result of that, there was some level of tension, and we're told that some youth group, is it Kandahar?
Kandahar, yes.
Okay,
yes.
And over the course of yesterday, we had the lead person of that very Kandahar group interviewed across radio stations, not only in Accra but elsewhere in other regions, and really he was issuing threats.
First and foremost, let me send my condolences to the bereaved families, both families, Naziru's family and Rashid's family. I have difficulty really looking at this issue, but I think our security services could have done a bit more. Naziru was shot in his room on Saturday in San Narabo. Okay. And if you know the politics of the area, there was, I know the gentleman personally.
Who?
The Naziru. He works. He actually works directly under me. When the issue happened, the question was, Why will anyone, a masked person, enter his room and shoot him? I'm told he was shot 9 times in the chest. Okay. Obviously, the security services should want to go in, especially knowing the history of the area. The slightest, there will be reprisal attacks. And I have to read this. Gordon Asarbediakun of the Crusading Guide, Monday at 12:32 p.m. in the afternoon. He says, if there's any national security in Tamale, then they should be on the lookout. A young man who was shot in his room last Saturday just passed away. Funeral preparations underway. Don't discount retaliation. This is a journalist putting this on his Facebook wall. And it just makes common sense that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days passed, and you would expect some deployment within the area to just ease things up. Right now, things are calm because I called this morning and they are like, the army has been deployed all over, especially the Sanargo coming to the trouble area. These are the main trouble areas when concerning this particular case. And so we need our security to be up and doing. This could have been prevented seriously. But you see, the police in particular in the northern region have been bastardized to an extent that they find it difficult also responding. Because to a large extent, this issue seems to have been politicized. Okay, and the politicization of the security and crime to a large extent is affecting the security situation in this country and in the northern region in particular. Similar things happened years back, and the response was swift. In this case, you are not getting a quick response, so it allows people to read meanings into it. That look, it looks like the security services are acting to suit somebody's interest. We need them to be impartial in this particular case. But I also call on the youth, especially Kandahar. I have an affiliation with them. Let's remain calm. Let's remain focused. Let's see what the security services will do in this particular case, because it doesn't serve anyone's interest if we also choose to retaliate. I get their point that they are being accused because the gentleman who passed away, who was Naziru, is a member of Kandahar, and so if someone has died, the assumption is that Kandahar may have done the reprisal. And I'm told that in his reactions, he has indicated that they have nothing to do with it. That their information was that the gentleman was brandishing an AK-47 in a group there, and where he was arrested is close to the forest, very close to the forest. Why would, if the security was actually active as well, with this police visibility, the traffic lights and all those junctions, because where it happened, there's a junction before you get into the forest. The police should have raised an alarm one way or the other. Citizenship should have also at least reported to the police that this is what is happening. The gentleman rather handed over to the police than mob action being taken.
But do you agree that we have to make sure that we don't make this one in politics?
I absolutely agree with it, and that is why the police would have to be seen to be acting.
So that nobody reads in between.
In between, because it's like, oh, the first one happened, nothing was heard, then the second one is happening, and all of a sudden, someone is being accused. Take action. Let's see arrest on both cases, the Naziru one and this one, because I'm told the gentleman before he passed mentioned names at the hospital, and so we should be interested. We should be getting down and arresting people one way or the other.
Spencer.
Yes, Roland. First of all, let me say good morning to you, Chief.
And you're looking fresh. Your skin is smoother.
Wow, I'm rather. I'm rather.
You're taking a lot of lemon, I believe, and then watermelons. All right.
We give thanks to God anyway. On this particular issue, I would like to start from where you asked him the question. Should we take out the politics out of it? I think that is the first approach. We need to depoliticize the issue and let the law take its full course. It's unfortunate that at this time the police were not on top of their job. I say the police were not on top of their job because after they said Kandahar member died, I mean passed on in the hospital, I mean we knew that there could definitely be a reprisal attack, considering the area of the incident. And I mean, if you check just a brief history, you know that it's quite a hot area when it comes to these issues. So for me, I was a bit disappointed in the police, because people must have confidence in you in the first place, so that they will not be able to take the law in their own hand. But then when the push of the police seems a bit lackluster, and for me it's quite worrying. It's been the trend this year especially. We have seen a newborn baby missing in the hospital. The police pusher for me was most unfortunate, and the way they rather came out justifying some issues. And when I listened to the PR of the police again, just last weekend, a referee was attacked by fans, and we know that at the various sports stadia we have the police and other security guards there. They are supposed to protect these issues. So for me, it moves broader. I mean, it's broader than just the attacks in Tamale. It's about the security of you and how safe are we. I think that the
But you do agree that the police until these very incidents had increased some level of visibility in communities. The point is, if that very visibility had been heightened, then it should have touched everywhere, and their ears should have been everywhere as well.
You see, they have visibility, for which I think let me just commend the IGP for that. It's good, but the visibility in itself does not solve the problem. I mean, when we get used to, when they first came on the streets, people were a bit careful. Today, go to where the traffic zones are. I was just coming. I mean, I was in an unfortunate traffic around the Kanda. One side, and you know Ghana, our traffic is, because we don't really have night shifts. Every morning we all move from our homes.
It's a rush hour in the morning,
a rush hour, and then
going in the
so you
evening.
have one road busy, one road free. The police are just standing there, and there are times when you get there, you see others working. I don't know what is happening, but then if you get there, the other side is free. The traffic lights are working, but because it's free, when it's green for them, no car moves, and then we are still in traffic. You understand? Visibility will not necessarily bring about security. Yet it brings some level of confidence. But then when people get used to that, what then happens? The police must be seen to be taking action. There are people who are breaking, all sort of road traffic regulations right in front of the police. Even the police themselves.
Spencer, the police are the worst culprits when it comes to
even the police themselves. I was disappointed just this morning when a policeman on a motorbike right in front of the red traffic light sped off. I mean, subsequently you're going to have a lot of motorists on motorcycles also going through the...
Why? Exactly.
Why would they be caught?
Well, the police, according to the law, can jump.
They can, but then
if it's on an emergency.
Exactly, but then no.
With school kids at the back.
No, but then no.
With school kids at the back.
No, there was no school kids. Please stop the mystery. You see, so for me, I think that we should depoliticize the issue. Let's look at security as a whole. And I've said this, and I think I will say it. We need to de-arm our society, including the police themselves. Do you feel comfortable going to the bank with a policeman holding an AK-47?
Well, nothing wrong with that.
No, other countries have managed to de-arm their societies. We need to follow.
What are you talking about? In the US, they're shootings in schools.
Oh, come on, and that is why they keep killing themselves. Are we saying
in South Africa, the Pistorius
that is why.
By his bedside.
Okay, now let's go to.
You can enter a shop in Egypt. You can enter a shop in Egypt and buy arms.
And to what extent? How safe is someone living in Egypt? I am safe in Ghana, but I want to be much more safer. And I am saying that one of the ways to do this is to try and de-arm the society. Too many people holding guns, especially in the northern part of our country. I think that we need to...
I love this aspect of your talk this morning, this armament expert. But Richard,
some countries have done it, and we've seen, I mean, gun-related issues. Australia have done it. Norway has done it. UK did it some years back, and we've seen the effect I mean the gun-related issues. Exactly. We need to really look at that.
Okay, Richard. Perhaps the unfortunate aspect of it is that people are reading politics into all this. Just because we know that there are certain groups supposedly that have been aligned to certain political groupings, etc. But they are not necessarily violent, are they?
No, not necessarily.
For example, we have Kandahar, then we have is it Azoka? Azoka boys, somewhere. But you can have groupings within or emerging from political entities, but should they be pointers for violence?
Yeah, you see, I think even the whole issue of reducing it to this Kandahar thing, for me, was unfortunate by the police PRO. Okay, now the impression then is that they are a violent group. They will have to come out and defend themselves or say something. Is
it because the Kandahar group has links with your party?
No. What I'm saying is that individuals were shot. Somebody did it. That's a crime. Naziru belonging to Kandahar does not make it less a crime. Okay, so that if someone else was brandishing an AK-47 in an area and then there's mob action, it does not make it less a crime. The Kandaharites look for the individuals and take them on. But when you bring in Kandahar, then you are bringing in the political aspect of it. That, okay, somebody is trying to make some party or some group look bad, in this case. But we are talking of individual actors. Whoever went and shot the gentleman in his room went in his personal name. If anyone contracted him, he has to come and answer it. It doesn't lie in the mouth of the police to indicate that this gentleman is from Kandahar, and this one, they are suspecting that the Kandahar guys went and retaliated by killing. No.
Spencer, how do we resolve all these? Because this one is also gang-related violence, so to speak.
Yes, in as much as I agree with Richard on the PR of the police, and for me, I think that, let me just say, someone like DSP Sifasata is fantastic. We've heard that when they comment, other PROs of the police, when they comment, it does not really bring about some level of unity.
But you have to give the gentleman a benefit of the doubt. He's operating in an area which is as volatile as it is.
But notwithstanding, I think that we, the politicians as well, must take responsibility. And I think that in this case, the NPP leadership must demonstrate real leadership. They need to call their people. I'm building on a point. You see, when the first incident happened, when the gentleman passed on in the hospital, we had NPP senior communicators, and I can mention names if even...
You are not allowed.
Exactly. They went on Facebook, called for reprisal attacks. And for me, that was most unfortunate. We do not need this here. They started attributing this to politics. That is where the partisan...
That this is by NDC group, this one to by NPP group.
And for me,
I think that was needed.
For me,
so how do you think that the politicians need to exhibit that level of circumspection?
They need to
make sure that level of peace also comes into the
And then we must as well demonstrate some leadership on the ground. At the top level, they are our friends. I mean, they don't go to parliament to fight. They don't meet at their various.
But these are young people who work for the politicians.
So they must translate that to the young people. That's what I'm calling on the political party, especially the NPP, to demonstrate leadership. And I will be scandalized if anybody from my party tries to associate this to politics. And for me, the only way we can resolve this amicably is when we let the law take its full course. The police must be seen to be doing something, and I hope that henceforth we are going to see some real action from the police. But then the NPP, they must.
This is the politicization that we're talking about.
Richard.
No, you see, somebody.
Let me finish. Richard, let me finish.
I agree with
somebody puts. Spencer, just
Richard.
1 second. Somebody puts something on his social media.
Okay.
I don't know who.
Richard, it's okay. The gentleman we've been speaking to, talking about ASP Ebenezer Tete, he's the PRO for the Northern Region Police Command. Is that the command name?
Yes, well,
yeah, okay. How do you call your command post? What is it?
Northern Regional Police Command.
Okay, Northern Regional Police Command. It's been a while I've spoken to you, my good friend. But more importantly, what's the level of security in the area you operate in currently?
We are maintaining a strong presence in all the areas that we have identified as potential points for further violence. Yesterday in the evening, and even 3 days ago, we patrolled the areas that we also identified, and we are continuing with this strategy this morning, and we are going to sustain it as and when we see that the situation has died down, then we will be reviewing it.
If you do a content analysis of the report, and especially also the previous comments that you have made to various media stations, you get a feeling that perhaps after the first incident when the gentleman Naziru was admitted to the hospital and subsequently died, the police should have known that there would be reprisal attacks. What happened? You were monitoring?
Thank you very much for this question. We picked the signals that there were going to be possible reprisal attacks, and on the morning that Naziri died, we were on the ground. We were patrolling all the areas. We put a lot of security arrangements in place. It was just after our men had just come from the field, and they were at base, that we picked another signal that there was a press conference that was going on. So quickly, we started mobilizing, and then after the press conference, in just about a few minutes' time, there was some tension around the Abuabo area, and then we had to quickly move in. When we got there, we had an information that the body was lying at the timber market, and we went and saw him in a pool of blood. So that was what happened. It was not that on Monday we were not doing anything. The Naziri guy died on Saturday. It was until Sunday in the morning that information started trickling in as to the potential suspects. And you know, the police, we work assiduously to get into the bottom of such things, and we also depend on a lot of information. So for instance, if any suspects have been mentioned to us, we need to do a careful investigation and then get them arrested, and then continue with the investigation.
Okay,
the investigation was also ongoing.
Well, Mr. Tete, I would want you to continue. Mr. Tete, I would want you to continue, but especially when you know that you operate in an area where you know also that there could be reprisal attacks, and initially when that very indication had been given to you over the weekend, now what happened? Your ears were not on the ground, as we had a recording of another incident, a mayhem that was meted out to the management of Justice. Is it Radio Justice?
Yeah.
Okay, in Tamale.
The management of the issue that happened at Radio Justice is as a result of an unfortunate comment that was made by somebody on that particular platform.
Which we are not monitoring, because that's also part of security, is it not?
Thank you very much that you are raising this. We have always advised the media that when it comes to things of this nature, they should be very circumspect. And we have taken pains, even sometimes, even to invite them to our headquarters and talk to them on some of these things. And some of them have been cooperating with us. And that is what accounts for the reason why some of the radio stations in the region have witnessed no attacks of this nature.
So what happened to this one? This one, you didn't call their management?
Yesterday there was a similar meeting with them just after the incident. But I'm telling you that this is what we've been doing, because we know that the media sometimes contribute to some of these things, and we've been educating them, especially when it comes to volatile and serious security issues of this nature, as to how to go about it, especially when they open their platform for phone-in programs and all those things. And it is rather unfortunate that it has to get to this level. This is not the first time that that particular radio station, people have gathered, searching forward to, burn the radio station or to attack the radio station. We have had instances where we have quickly moving and protected
but that's why you didn't move in quickly enough, did you?
Oh yes, we did. We move in swiftly. If you care to know, some of our men were in the building. After the time the building was on fire. Some of them beating them, and some of them had, they were bleeding profusely, and they were the same team of police officers who were in the building protecting those who were trapped in the building. So those allegations that we did not get to the area swiftly is neither here nor there.
Okay.
We were there on time, and we did what we could to protect the lives that were trapped in that particular building. And it's just unfortunate that this thing had to happen, and we will ensure that we do everything possible.
Okay. Okay. So today,
the perpetrators of this particular time to book.
So today, from this very morning, what level of security have you put in place in all, especially electronic media houses in the region, or within the vicinity now? And how also have you perhaps lined up enough to make sure that all these subsequent reprisal attacks you are able to curtail in the meantime?
Yeah, yesterday during the meeting with them, some of them requested for such facility, and we are going to sit and then decide as to if there's a need for us to provide.
You're now going to sit. That creates the problem that we're talking about. If you're not going to sit, and I know you don't. I know that you don't take the decisions, ASP Ebenezer Tete. But the point is that people's lives are at stake.
Please allow me to conclude. The facility.
Yes, sir, Mr. Tete.
We provided security there.
Yes, sir.
There's even a policemen who are stationed there as we speak now. They were there yesterday in the evening. But the other radio stations requested, and the same policemen who are going to be deployed to the radio station are the same policemen we are using for the operation together with the military. So we have to sit down and strategize and decide as to which radio station are likely to come and threat.
Okay.
That is, if they don't yield to some of the advices that we have given to them yesterday, because we told them to, for instance, be very circumspect in the further discussions of this particular incident. So if they don't yield to our advice and they continue to do that, we will send policemen there, all right, but the people will come, because how many policemen can we send to, for instance, the radio station? At most, we can send 2. And if the radio station continues to misbehave or misconduct themselves, the people can still come around.
I get your point. I get your point, Mr. Piero. Now let's look at the last issue before I take you off the line. Now that we've had Naziru passing on, and another one who also passed on following the very incident at the radio station on Tuesday, how are you going to conduct the investigations in such a way that all sides are appeased?
I am telling you that these investigations are already underway. It is very unfortunate that some people have to issue some ultimatum, and what happened. We are strongly on the ground. We are investigating, and when we get suspects linked to this particular incident, we will not hesitate at all to arraign them before court, because that is what we are mandated to do, and we will do that without any fear or favor.
Well, thank you very much, ASP Ebenezer Tete. He is the PRO for the Northern Region Police Command, and speaking to us about the level of security that has been put in place following incident recorded over the weekend and also on Tuesday, in which we had on Tuesday a radio station, Radio Justice, burnt down by irate youth in Tamale. And as a result of that, we've had a life being lost over the weekend, and in that very incident on Tuesday as well. So your last comment on the subject. So now...
I think the depoliticization is very important. But you see, when you're discussing the issue and you want to give examples, and then all the examples are on the other side, what you then do is that you leave it to your other panelists to come and give examples from your side. And then at the end of the day, the very thing we want to stop is what we'll rather end up doing. So I would, for instance, suggest that we will be very circumspect in discussing this issue, because it's coming from an area that is very volatile, very sensitive. Giving examples, and if you have realized, I've been very careful not to at least bring in the parties. I want us to focus on the individuals involved. That is the way forward. If anyone sits somewhere and does anything on their Facebook and all those things, and you think that they've gone against the rules, please let the security services take them on. But we should not cloak them under the umbrella of a particular group or party and use it, because you then give an incentive for the other person to respond, and that will be my concluding remarks.
Notwithstanding what Richard said, I think that the political parties must be responsible and must demonstrate leadership. Roland, I do not see anything wrong with the leadership of the party. I mean, taking its role and responsibility and putting its communicators, whether on social media platforms or in the news or TVs, to order. For me, I think that is very, very important in order not to stoke up the fire, because we cannot afford to have people who communicate on behalf of the political parties, who communicate on behalf of the leadership of the party, to be insinuating violence just because an attack has happened, just because something has happened. I think that we need to tackle that. Secondly, the people as well must be responsible. I mean, look, we only have one Ghana. Whether you are in Tamale or you are in Accra or you are in Wenchi, wherever you find yourself, we only have one Ghana. I do not see the reason why people would want to sit and wait and play take the laid-back approach and see for things to develop. It's unfortunate. Okay. Again, finally, we must let the law work. Allow the police to do its work. I mean, if I say allow, it does not mean that we should just leave them. But if there are issues that needs to be raised, it must be raised. But then let the police do it without any political intervention. Because we are in this country, both NDC and NPP. We've done it before. An NDC person is arrested. You see us who gather around the police station. I mean, and what happens? An NPP person is arrested. They do the same thing. We need to put an end to this skirmish.
Free single spine pay policy, it's unsustainable. And yesterday there was this very event that was convened. They call it the Graphic Fidelity Economic Breakfast Forum. And I don't know whether any of you monitored yesterday in the morning. And basically just talk about the current problems we are facing with the economy and what needs to be done. We had the finance minister at Tekpe, Moses Saga, who has been a one-time
former deputy finance.
Yes, former deputy finance minister, and former minister of state of finance was there, Akutwose, and Osafo Mafu also was there as well. So Kwame Pieni was the chairman, and so economic gurus. And one of the suggestions that was made by Akutwose was that e-government was complaining, and everybody knows that the wage bill was huge because of single spine, etc. We should have some level of approaches with the TUC, discuss ways of perhaps some level of redundancy and suspending some aspects of the single spine pay policy and all. You think that's our bane?
For me, yes, the single spine policy or the singles is not more. It's a pay structure. The pay structure is currently a huge toll on government. But to suggest that it should be scrapped, it should be phrased, I think it's a lazy approach. Issues have come. You need to think through it. I think that our major challenge as a nation is the revenue generation. We do not generate enough. Yes, we always admit that there's a huge number of Ghanaians who are not paying taxes. For me, I think that we should be looking at how we will be getting those taxes from the people. If we get more taxes, the single spine will become a small fraction of the national cake. The fraction they are looking at is the fact that currently it's taking almost about 70% of what you generate, meaning it leaves no money for developmental purposes, which I agree. But then if we as a country admit that, look, we are not even taking 40% of the taxes we should be taking, why are we not looking at ways and means to take those taxes? And for me, I think that
but your government is the power. Your government is not finding ways and means to broaden the tax.
And that is why I'm coming to. I think that at the forum, which I listened to on the radio, they identified a lot of issues, and for me it wasn't just about a single spine, and for the graphic for whichever paper to identify just one issue of the many lots. Really good point. One fantastic thing said by the former minister Honorable Akuto said was the fact that look, we should be looking at the aluminium and the bauxite industry. That was fantastic. For me, we should be looking at talking of the positives and not necessarily the negatives, because when we talk too much on the negatives, there's something known as confidence in economics. It's the underlying factor of any financial dealings. When people do not have confidence in a structure, they definitely will not want to deal in that particular structure. So I would have wished that it was taken from that angle rather than single spine. But then again, I disagree with that Atani, Honorable Akotose. And for me, government is thinking through and looking at expanding the revenue, the revenue net, that's the tax net. Let's not forget, there's been an increase in VAT for developmental purposes. The 2.5% going straight into the infrastructure fund, which is going to be managed by some brains that have excelled in whatever professions they may be coming from. We should be talking as Ghanaians. And yesterday, I really loved the program. I wish to hear more. I wish to see and hear more of such programs.
And the whole bit, in addition to what you add to it, is that we still don't have consensus on what we need to do going forward, even though we've identified what we need to do, as far as political parties are concerned.
Roland, we don't need a consensus.
Really?
We don't. You see, you have a government. The government has a program that it wants to implement. We cannot agree on the way forward, because that is why we vote a particular party into power, to implement the best way they think.
That's the problem we have, right? That is why,
no, it is not.
For example, yesterday Alan Chamantin, Moses Saga,
I agree.
and everybody,
we don't have a blueprint.
We need to have a blueprint.
We
don't have a blueprint.
Look, this whole issue about having a national program, and you know something, we as political parties have different ideologies and approaches to dealing with issues.
That okay? You want to develop Ghana.
Yes.
Exactly.
If your focus, you say social democracy, and so you're supposed to focus on getting the needy and all that come up, the income brackets, and then you do not put programs and strategies in place, okay, to get those people come up. I'm sorry. My approach is that I make people rich, okay? So I target, and you know, ours is that at the end of the day, we have individuals who would grow, employ people, because you as a government cannot, that is the difficulty we're having. The government wants to solve all our problems. The government helps to give decisions and some leadership, and then allow people to take up that leadership and resolve the problems. So if mine is...
That's what we call development in freedom.
Yes. And
private sector-led growth.
Yes. But yours is that let's redistribute income to the poor.
I'm sorry,
at the end of the day,
I'm sorry, we don't have much time.
Yes. But
we don't have
your policies when you were in government. Your policies when you were in government was clear.
Yes, I know.
But you see, the biggest problem, I think, that they cannot scrap it because of the propaganda they played with it. But the point is that the point is that I think we should cut down the deficit, the spending. The president has even identified that. If he learns to cut down that, we'll reduce the negativity.
Spending
okay, so we have to end now. Richard Nyama is contesting the position National Youth Organizer of the MPP, but he's also one of the conveners for Young Patriots, a member of the MPP. Thanks for joining us this morning, Richard. We wish you well in your endeavors. We'll try as much as possible to help all young people who want to take up political positions. That is, as they have the very objective of developing Ghana. And one of those other young persons is George Spencer Quay. He's also a member of the NDC. Again, thanks for joining us again.
And fellow Vandal.
Fellow Vandal.
He was my chief.
Okay, so that'll be it for AM Talk. Next, we'll bring you a lot more on the AM Show.